everyone, this is Modern Mongolia and I'm Donna. Thank you very much for being here. In this episode, I talked with Sebastian. He's from England and he's teaching English in Mongolia. You will get to know that Sebastian enjoys the coldness of Mongolia because he likes winter and cold weather. Also, you will hear about the struggles that he felt during the strict lockdown in Newby last spring and a couple of very interesting stories that he experienced while living in Mongolia for last 3 years. And for just a side note, I recorded this session almost 3 weeks ago and I procrastinated a lot to put it together and put it online because there was a minor technical issue and some intrusion which distracted me very much, and it was very cringy to go back to my recording and listen to myself rambling like an idiot. Yeah, it happens. And I confess my procrastination. And now I realize that this is part of my learning process. Anyway, Sebastian was very nice, chill person to talk to. And here we go. Thank you for coming to the podcast. So, at first, would you mind telling to the listener that what made you come to Mongolia?
Okay, so I wanted to come and teach somewhere that was, a bit more unusual. A lot of people, they end up teaching in Thailand or China. And I wanted to do something a bit different. So after researching countries and what they were like, Mongolia seemed the most interesting to me.
And that's why you came here. So how do you feel about living in Mongolia? How do you like it? And so you told me that it's been 3 years now, and how are you finding it?
I'm really enjoying it. Mongolia seems like home now. I'm really happy here. I don't see any need to really leave. It's become, somewhere I just call home now. It's a pleasant place to live. I enjoy all the seasons. I enjoy the culture, the food, the people are nice. So it's a great place to be.
That's great to hear about that. So I don't know, this year the spring is very cold and summer is still not here. So about the weather, sometimes it's a bit upsetting, but it's fine. Yeah.
But for me, actually, winter's my favorite season.
Oh, so then you're lucky actually to be here. Could you tell me about how was those first period of time when you were settling in Newby? How was your first experiences, first coming to Mongolia and getting to know the culture and meeting with new people?
I found it to be mostly extremely positive. The school I work for were very good and very welcoming and setting me up here in Mongolia, with a pleasant apartment, internet, and they were always there to help out with any problems with communication in the beginning. And just the social network within the school was very good. They were very welcoming to people and it was easy to make friends, I found. I'd say it's definitely easier to make friends here than when I lived in Thailand. I think it's a closer community, really, and a bit more open maybe as well.
I see. So before you come to Mongolia, you were working in Thailand and
I was actually working in Myanmar.
Myanmar.
I was in Myanmar for 2 years and I was in Thailand for 8 years, I think.
So could you tell me a bit about your job, international school? Is it the secondary school?
No, it's we do have a secondary school actually, but I teach in the kindergarten and primary section. So I work with the younger children. So for them, most of them actually have a very good level of English. So communication is quite easy in a way with them. But, of course, they're very young, they're very energetic. So that where, that's where the challenge is, but I enjoy it and I really enjoy teaching them. They're a great bunch of kids to teach. They're mostly very polite and well-behaved and keen to learn. They bring a lot of energy to the day, which is fantastic. Be that online or in person, like teaching them online, it's been great. I've been so proud of them, like how quickly they were able to adapt to the situation and the positive energy that they would bring each day online. Yeah, it's been very positive teaching and working here in this job.
Sure. What were the insights about like children teaching Mongolian children, and what did you find it more different than the other countries and teaching children there?
I would say that Mongolian children, they don't struggle so much with critical thinking and questioning things as much as Myanmar and Thailand. And I think that is a cultural thing. It's just a bit of a no-no to question your teacher in Myanmar and to an extent in Thailand as well, but not to such a higher degree. But here, they're very inquisitive and they can vocalize it and they ask you questions. So I'd say that's, one of the differences.
I see. Well, for me, I think teaching young kids it seems very difficult, actually, very demanding, and like I have to be very sensitive and also caring. For me, I find it very difficult to teach anything to other people, but it's a hard work. Yeah. But it's also very energetic and very, very nice.
Yeah, it's very rewarding. That's
rewarding, yeah.
Seeing them progress and learn to read, because teaching kindergarten and first grade, it's all about the alphabet and building that into reading in English. And that's, really rewarding to see them able to pick up books in English and start to read them and enjoy them.
Mm-hmm. How well are you familiar with the expats community in Mongolia? Because I'm not very familiar with the community, but I'm starting to know and I'm starting to meet some people through these podcasts. So how was your experience?
I'm somewhat involved in it, but I have more local friends really than expat friends, mainly through work. I think I work with a lot of obviously Mongolian colleagues and they speak English. We're an international school. So I've become involved, in their social life and, just people I've met actually, as I said, Mongolia is quite an open and friendly society. So making friends here is definitely not a challenge. If you come to Mongolia, you're definitely going to make friends. That's for sure, I would say.
Yeah, that's for sure. Have you managed to travel to the other regions of the country? What was your favorite places?
So my favorite region so far, Ahangai was very beautiful. Like they say it's Mongolia's most beautiful province, right? But I don't mean to enough provinces actually to make that judgment, but it is very beautiful. Other cities, I really like Edinet. I think it's got a very different vibe to UB. I think in a good way though. It's a bit more laid back and life is a bit slower there. I can definitely appreciate, the vibe in Edinet.
Yeah.
And Omnigovi province, I really liked it. The Amek capital Dalingazad is a very pleasant place just to hang out in for a bit and base your travels around the province from there. The dunes are pretty amazing. It's like walking on a different planet. I've never experienced that before. And I've seen Hobsko Lake, both frozen for the ice festival and as a liquid lake, as it were, in the summer. Personally, I prefer it in the winter, but that's because winter is my favorite season and I love the cold. So
you're one of those few people who like the winter.
I've met so few people who like the winter. A few months ago, I was actually doing kind of a video recording for my friend's language school, and I finally met another person who prefers winter.
Mm-hmm.
I was very happy, very excited to find this person finally, who's like me, a bit weird and likes winter.
Mm-hmm. What kind of activities did you find nice to do during the winter? Like, what do you do in the winter?
I go hiking. I go
Uh-huh.
hiking in like 30 below freezing, no problem. Just put on the right clothes, and it's beautiful up in the mountains with all the snow. And if you have the right equipment, it's fine, I think. Also, the ice festival was amazing. Like, travel in winter is definitely harder, but I think the reward is quite worth it for the pictures you can take and the experiences you will have.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
coming into like a warm gear it's just one of the best feelings in the world. Like, if it's freezing outside and you step into that warm gear and just chill out, have some good food, yeah, that's great.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I have only seen the pictures of the ice festival, but I have never been there myself. So, as you said, the pictures look amazing on the frozen lake. Of course, the experience must be like much more.
Yeah, I highly recommend making the trip to see the ice festival when it's held again.
What is your favorite food, Mongolian food, that you would like to share, or you can share some of your favorite spots in UB?
So, favorite food, montanbuts is my
Matumut.
absolute favorite Mongolian food.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
Closely, probably followed by soyben, and of course, horseshoe.
Yeah, sure.
Favorite spots in UB. So I like to go walking and hiking a lot. So for me, like down by the river is one of my favorite spots just to go walking. I love walking on the river in winter when it freezes over. That's a very unique experience for me, coming from Myanmar and Thailand, where of course nothing ever freezes. It's incredibly hot. So that's one of my favorite things to do. Going downtown, a lot of expats, they like to, go to Skywalker in Shangri-La Mall. And yeah, that's a great place just to kick back and enjoy some time and relax. So yeah. Shopping wise, depends for what. Like, I'm not really a big shopper, and I would rather get it over as quickly as possible. So Gujangarav is pretty good. Like, as a one-stop shop, I can pretty much get everything I need and be out fairly quickly. Sunday market, great clothes, but always very crowded. So I definitely have to psych myself up to be, in that frame of mind to deal with Sunday Plaza. I actually like Narrental a bit more. It's open air and it seems less crowded.
Yeah, going to the Narrental market, you just mentioned it, right? So that's actually a whole another experience. Yeah, I know. Have you tried bargaining with the shopkeepers?
Yes. I've never been ripped off there. There's so many things I read online. Like, don't go to Narrental. The drunks will provoke you. That you get pickpocketed. You'll be ripped off. Yeah, none of that has ever happened in 3 years. So maybe that's out of date, and someone needs to update the writing on that.
Yeah, actually, if you go for shopping in Narrental, you can find the same stuff, which is in the elegant shops in the city center. You can find it exact the same thing, actually, with much less price. Yeah. But also, as you said, there might be some encounters with the drunk people, and you have to deal with the pickpockets. And yeah, that's the thing that you should pay attention. But otherwise, it's nice to explore the market.
Yeah. There's so much going on there, with all the kind of Mongolian antiques and things right at the back. That's a really interesting area. You can find some very unique things for your apartment, I think, and not spend a fortune on it as well. So that's a bonus as well.
I just remembered that I had a roommate from Myanmar, actually I lived with her like 5-6 months, but I couldn't actually manage to become more close and learn about her culture. So could you tell a little bit about Myanmar? I know it's a little bit off the topic of this podcast, but
No problem.
that would be, I think, interesting also.
So Myanmar was a really fantastic place to live. It's obviously, very much a developing country. So you sort of have to go there with this open mind about the infrastructure. It just probably won't exist to the level you would expect or be used to. But the people are extremely welcoming, like probably some of the friendliest and most welcoming you'll ever meet. It's extremely hot. Like if you don't like hot weather, you might struggle a bit actually in Myanmar. It can be quite oppressively hot sometimes. With it being undeveloped, like it means like the tourist infrastructure isn't actually really quite there yet, but maybe that is not such a bad thing. I mean, it means that the countryside is untouched, apart from some large mining projects in some parts. So if you like hiking, I think Myanmar is a dream destination. You can go swimming around these beautiful waterfalls. You can go hiking up mountains to pagodas where monks actually still live. It's fascinating. And the food is pretty good as well. It's not as spicy as its neighbor Thailand, so it's a bit more of a mellow taste with more aromatic herbs. So it's pretty unique.
Interesting. Maybe, do you know if there's someone from Myanmar in Mongolia? Do you know if there is someone here?
No, but maybe soon there will be. Like, I'm trying to convince one of my friends to come out here and teach. And he has a Myanmar girlfriend. So she would obviously be coming too. So yeah, if she comes, she speaks English fluently. She's also an English teacher. So yeah, she'd be a great person to interview and talk about Myanmar and the issues they've been having with the coup from the army and just life in Myanmar.
Oh yes, yeah. Yeah. Have you met someone very interesting, like from other country, that you find it very fascinating when you were living in Mongolia?
Yes, I met a French man, and he was walking across all of Mongolia. So he had his kind of cart behind him, and he was just walking across. We randomly met him while we were staying with some nomads in Huste National Park. We'd gone to see the taki horses. And obviously, mostly around it's livestock and Mongolian nomads. And then somewhere, from out of nowhere comes this giant white guy walking across the steppe, like with a huge, cart behind him.
And he's like pulling the cart?
Yeah, he's pulling the cart, like it's kind of strapped onto him, and he's just walking.
Wow, that's interesting.
Must be a really quite an adventure. He was interesting to talk to.
Definitely sounds interesting. Do you find something very strange? I think for now, like for 3 years, I think you find everything about the culture and about the people behavior and attitude, everything is kind of familiar now. But do you recall anything that first was a culture shock?
I think because I've been living abroad for most of my adult life, I don't really get culture shock. It's just a different thing, and I just adapt to it. So yeah, for me, I don't really just get culture shock. It's just something new and interesting that I have to adapt to. I suppose one interesting observation would be clothing. Like even on the warm days, even people will still wear like a big coat. And I find that really interesting, like, because for me, like, people are looking at me like I'm crazy because here I am in my shorts and t-shirt, because I really do not feel cold weather like normal people. Like, I think maybe there actually might be something wrong with me, because I can go through winter with no gloves, no scarf, like, I'm sometimes wearing a hat, and I feel fine. But so the clothing thing, like, but I think I'm the unusual one here. I think everyone else is normal. and I'm just a weirdo, like that doesn't feel the cold.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think also those people also thought that, oh, that's one of those crazy foreigner who is not
Right, yeah.
wearing any winter clothes. So for what is your plan for like near future? Are you planning to stay here in Mongolia teaching?
Yeah, I'm planning to stay here. I've got no big plans to move to another country at the moment. Of course, at the moment with the COVID restrictions, it's much more difficult than it usually would be. And also, I'm very comfortable here, so there's no real pressing need to move on yet.
That's great. And how did you find all this lockdown and COVID restriction? Are you okay? And finally, it's getting better. And yes.
Good question. So I think really my job helped a lot with weathering the lockdowns. Like, for my students, I have to present this cheerful, happy face. Like I can't be feeling sorry for myself. I'm totally miserable. So my students helped me get through like the lockdown because, they're young kids, they're always cheerful and usually energetic. So that was a great psychological help, I think, for me. Also, before the first one, like a friend who I think he works in parliament or something, he said, if you want to buy a thing big, said, now would be a good time to do it because things are probably going to close down. So I bought a lot of exercise equipment so I could stay active during the lockdowns. And that mentally helped me each day to, have that routine of work, exercise and cooking things that really helped me get through it.
Yeah, sure.
But I found like the lack of socializing to be quite challenging. Like not meeting with friends and meeting friends for dinner and stuff. That's a big part of my social life. So not having that for months and months, that was quite challenging. But it's, not, of course, people like in the Gare district, they have such a bigger challenge in lockdown than I did, like with all the public bathhouses and stuff closing for months on end. So I feel I really have no right to complain too much about the lockdowns. I spent it in a warm, comfortable apartment with electricity and internet. It wasn't that terrible, really.
Yeah, exactly same for me. Psychologically or emotionally, sometimes it was hard, but actually, if we think about it, there's nothing to complain about. Like I have food and shelter, everything. So actually, it has been better, much better than any other people who are in a worse situation.
Yeah, yes. I think it's important to put things into perspective and try and be optimistic about it.
Sure. Have you, do you speak Mongolian a little bit, or are you trying to learn?
I am trying to learn, and I really should be more proactive. The thing is, I don't really need it in the workplace because my colleagues speak English and my students definitely speak English. I mean, if we have a new student who doesn't speak any English, well, their classmates can do such a better job at translating stuff, than I ever could. I mean, some of them 6 and 7, and they can just direct translate like that. It's incredible. Like, that's something I won't be able to do. I think age now is not on my side to be able to do that. But my plan is to take some Mongolian lessons over the summer. I found a language school and I plan to enroll in that, soon and take some lessons. Because I should speak more Mongolian than I do.
Well, I think there are some online speaking clubs or I don't know, people are socializing through some apps, Clubhouse, and they're talking about so many different topics. So I find it very helpful to learn a language. For example, I am trying to improve my Spanish and I'm just listening there quietly when people are talking. So maybe if you want to practice or start learning Mongolian, you can start there, I guess.
Yeah. I track with the Mongolian news on each morning while I have my breakfast and coffee, just so I start recognizing the sounds, the phonetic sounds of the Mongolian language. And So I don't really understand much of what's going on. I get a rough idea of what's going on, but I can break the sounds down now. It's not all just one sound to me, if you know what I mean now. Now I can definitely, okay, it's a language. It's got definite structure to it. I just need to, understand the words I'm hearing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what is your plan for the summer? I guess,
my plan is to travel a bit, to go to Zavkhan province, explore that. Other than that, no major plans. Go hiking, enjoy being outside, meet friends, have a fun summer, and get ready for the next term, which is starting, I believe, on August the 15th this year. So, yes, different from the traditional September the 1st start.
Yeah. So I think everyone will try to do as you're planning, because they have spent the whole half a year in the lockdown indoors. So I think just like everyone, we will just try to be as much as we can outside and travel. And I think that's the plan for everyone else.
I think it's a great plan. Enjoy it while we can.
Yes, enjoy it while we can, while we have the opportunity. People are saying that it's not good that small children at age of 5 or 6 are speaking English but not speaking Mongolian. So they're when they get into the first grade, they just directly start learning English, and they're not learning their mother tongue. So how do you feel about that? And have you heard anything like comment and thoughts on this matter?
So our school is a dual curriculum one, so they do learn Mongolian in kindergarten alongside English. So we want them to, have that balance with their native Mongolian language and English as well. But yeah, if you take some other international schools like ISU, I guess, the focus is on English, maybe more so than their Mongolian. I think that's a shame. I think, your native L1, it can be so helpful as a toolkit to open another language. So I think there needs to be balance, there shouldn't be the dominance of one language over the other in an international school. Your language is part of your identity and your culture, and I don't think that should be taken away. I don't think that's a good thing at all.
Have you ever went to Playtime Festival?
No, I haven't actually, but I'm excited that this year it's going to be happening, but in August, and you have to book a bit far in advance, but some local friends, they are very keen on going, and I'm keen on joining them and experiencing this festival. I love music, so I definitely want to go.
I have also missed the last 4 or 5 playtime, so also I'm quite excited to go. Do you have any interesting stories that you want to share about Mongolian culture or just living here in Mongolia that you think other people should hear, which is interesting?
So the last time I was in Ahanggai province, I went cycling on the steppe, and I can see on the distance there's some sort of animal, and it's pretty big and muscular. I think, bit of a weird goat, and I get closer and closer, and then it starts running towards me, and I'm like, oh shit, it's a banker dog, and it's furious, and I have to pedal so quickly, jump into this river to escape this angry, banker dog. It was, they're huge. It was quite terrifying actually, with this dog running behind me, and I'm like, I think this is game over. I'm going to be killed by some giant fluffy dog that's really mad at me for intruding on its territory. So yeah, don't get close to big fluffy dogs. They're not as friendly as they look.
Yes, that's actually quite usual when you travel in the countryside and you get nearby the hotel and gear, and there is always a bankhar, and you get run after. But you have to be you don't show your fear. You just need to shout go away.
Yeah.
In the end, I would like to ask, is there any advice that you would like to share that you think people should know when they come to Mongolia to live, to settle down, or to just visit or travel?
I would say, like, if you're coming here to live, I mean, what the things you'll hear online as soon as you mention you're coming to Mongolia is like, oh, the winters, you won't survive. It's unbearable. I mean, it's so cold. I would say, you'll be fine. The heating everywhere, like, is pretty effective. Like, people still carry on with their lives. Like, the country won't just shut down in the winter. Like, you'll get used to it, and just, explore as much as you can. Go out and explore the city as much as you can and the surrounding countryside. It's an amazing country to get involved in and learn about the culture and make local friends. So yeah, that would be my advice.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much, Sebastian.
You're welcome. You are welcome.
So much. Do you have anything to ask from me? It's up to you. It's last minute.
What would be your number one destination to go to in Mongolia? Like, where would you recommend, like, a foreigner should visit in Mongolia? If they could go to one place, mm-hmm. where would you tell them to go outside of the city, maybe?
Okay, let me think. To be honest, I haven't been to very nice spots that I should visit, but I have been to very few emacs and very few places. Actually, my parents and my grandparents are from Arhanga, and so that's where I go I try to visit my grandparents every summer, and that's the place I love. And very beautiful, of course. The nature is amazing. So I think I would, from the places I have already visited myself, I would suggest Hufsud Lake, of course. And I think it's very, I know it's kind of like a cliche and everybody says Hufsud Lake, but I think people should go a little bit to the north of the lake. Most of the people and just visit the very southern tip of the lake, and there's a whole lot of tourist camps and gears. If you go to the northern, there's even much more beautiful place, and there is a tag, and there is but from the places I haven't visited but I want to, I think I want to suggest Kyrgyz Lake. Listening to the experience of the team which I have interviewed for the last time, I think that is the place people really should visit and see and have the view of those Mediterranean view of the lake. So that sounds so beautiful.
Yeah, that sounds, yeah, I'll be putting that on my list, I think, of places to visit. So thanks for the suggestion.
Thank you for asking. Thank you very much. So thank you for your time and have a nice evening.
Thanks, you too. Have a great evening.
Thank you very much for listening. Please follow our channel on the podcast platform that you're using so that you won't miss the new episodes. And if you want to share your thoughts and ideas, don't hesitate to reach out on modernmongolians@gmail.com. Баярлалаа, баяртай.